Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, all together please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshorun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 15, verses 1 to 3. Okay, all right, if you like, we'll do 16. So, chapter entitled The Divine and the Demoniac Natures. So, very interesting chapter. So, I've been asked to speak on a certain section of the purport, or at least to read that. But what we'll do is, we'll just read through the Sanskrit once, you repeat, then we'll go straight to the English. Okay, please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Abhayam Sattva Samsudhir Jnana Yoga Vavashtiti Dhanam Dhamascha Yagnascha Svajayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Sattvam Akrodas Tyagah Tyaga Shanti Apaishunam Daya Bhuteshu Avuplukyam Madhavam Hri Apachalam Tejashamadriti Socham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti sampadam daivīm abhijātaḥ bharata. So, translation Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men, endowed with divine nature. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men, endowed with divine nature. Right, so at the top of page 652, there's a chapter starting with then. I'm supposed to read that and also ahimsa, including those chapters. So I'll do so now. Then swadhyaya, Vedic study, is meant for brahmacharya, or student life. Brahmacharis should have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy and engage the mind in the study of the Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called swadhyaya. Tapas, or austerity, is especially meant for the retired life. One should not remain a householder throughout his whole life. He must always remember that there are 4 divisions of life: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So after grihastha, householder life, one should retire. If one lives for 100 years, he should spend 25 years in student life, 25 in householder life, 25 in retired life, and 25 in the renounced order of life. These are the regulations of the Vedic religious discipline. A man retired from household life must practice austerities of the body, mind, and tongue. That is tapasya. The entire varnashram dharma society is meant for tapasya. Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. The theory that there is no need for austerity in life, that one can go on speculating and everything will be nice, is recommended neither in the Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad-Gita. Such theories are manufactured by show bottle spiritualists who are trying to gather more followers. If there are restrictions, rules, and regulations, people will not become attracted. Therefore, those who want followers in the name of religion just to have a show only don't restrict the lives of their students, nor their own lives. But that method is not approved by the Vedas. As far as the Brahminical quality of simplicity is concerned, not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be he in the brahmacharya ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, or sannyas ashram, one should be very simple and straightforward. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. One should not think that since the spirit spark is never killed, even after the killing of the body, there is no harm in killing animals for sense gratification. People are now addicted to eating animals, in spite of having an ample supply of grains, fruits, and milk. There is no necessity for animal killing. This injunction is for everyone. When there is no alternative, one may kill an animal, but it should be offered in sacrifice. At any rate, when there is ample food supply for humanity, persons who are desiring to make advancement in spiritual realization should not commit violence to animals. Real ahimsa means not checking anyone's progressive life. The animals are also making progress in their evolutionary life by transmigrating from one category of animal life to another. If a particular animal is killed, then his progress is checked. If an animal is staying in a particular body for so many days or so many years and is untimely killed, then he has to come back again in that form of life to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. So their progress should not be checked simply to satisfy one's palate. This is called ahimsa. So, big chapter. Mukam karochi vācālam pangam laite grim yad kripa tamaham vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Jai. So here Krishna is giving all the practices and necessities for the deva, the devata. In this world there is devata and asura, or you can say sura and asura. So sura means very pleasure, that means a devotee. He gets pleasure because he is devoted to the supreme reservoir of all pleasure. So he's connected, his consciousness is connected with Krishna, he's Krishna conscious. So he feels pleasure. So these practices are to maintain that pleasure and to develop that pleasure all the way up to Swarup Siddhi, where we develop our relationship with Krishna factually and directly. Swarup Siddhi means to develop one's spiritual form, one's spiritual relationship. First one should realize Krishna. Then when Krishna rises in the heart, one will understand one's own relationship. Sometimes people are misinformed. They said, oh, you meditate, imagine yourself in this way. No. Meditate on Krishna, realize Krishna, and when Krishna is understood, then you'll understand your relationship with Krishna. So these practices here, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, these are for the divine people that are in the material world, in the material situation, so to speak. Of course, a devotee, he is really more and more entering transcendence. But the divine nature has the full expression in Goloka and in the Leela of Krishna and in the Nitya Siddhas. So, but this divine nature here, Prabhupada explains in the first part of the paragraph of the purport in terms of Varnashram. So Varnashram is in the category of Vaidhi, rules and regulations. It is the rules and regulations. Thank you. So Vaidhi is very necessary to protect the growth of rag. Rag means attachment. Attraction. So Lord Chaitanya came to give rag bhakti. That means bhakti based on attraction to Krishna. And in the developed stage, that means in the mood of the Charibhav. In Lord Chaitanya, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he explains, I've come to make the world dance in Charibhav. So rag means to worship Krishna in the awakening mood of Dasya Bhav, Sakhya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Madhurya Bhav. Servitude, fraternity, parental feeling, and conjugal feeling. So, rag, which is a special gift of Lord Chaitanya to the bhaktas, as expounded in the Shikshamrita and expanded by the 6 Goswamis, this is the special gift of Kali Yuga. So these rules and regulations and suggestions and understandings, they form the foundation, or if you like, the protecting elements, the fence within which the creeper of rag bhakti can grow. But in the spiritual world, beyond Swarup Shakti, beyond Swarup Siddhi, realization of one's spiritual relationship and spiritual form with Krishna, there is Vastu Siddhi. Vastu Siddhi, that is the full expression of the divine nature. It is explained in the Shastra that the higher realms of prem cannot be experienced by the spirit soul within this material body, because the fully developed, fully awoken soul, the emotion of prem is too powerful to be held within the material body. So Vastu Siddhi means when the spiritual soul is within Golok Vrindavan, the purely spiritual nature. So that is the full expression of the divine nature. Vastu Siddhi is explained in the Shastra that when the liberated soul, one has attained Bhava and Swarup Siddhi, when he's going to Golok, he takes bath in the Viraja river. The Viraja river is the Karanadak ocean. There he washes off the subtle body, and then he enters the spiritual world in his purified, his real nature, his swarup. Swarup means own form. It is intrinsic. That is also another bogus thing that's often taught, that you can choose your swarup. No, your swarup is inbuilt to the soul. It is part of the soul. Satchidananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form and personality. So every person has an innate, inbuilt spiritual relationship and a spiritual form that is an expression of that prem relationship with the Supreme Lord. So Vaidhi, Varnashram, is meant to be the layout for a divine society. Human society is meant to be centered on realization of the Supreme Lord for all members, whether they be brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. You are all familiar with these. Whether one is Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmanical. Krishna later explains all this in the 18th chapter and the divisions of faith, 17th chapter, that by pursuing one's own nature in a spirit of sacrifice. Here it is said sacrifice. Madhyaji, Krishna also says, manmana bhava madbhakto. By performing one's propensities as defined, as elucidated in the varnashram system, as by performing them expertly and with devotion as an offering to the Supreme Lord, everyone can attain perfection. It is not that just some higher members of varnashram, like Brahman or Kshatriya or so on, they can attain perfection. No, everyone can attain perfection. And that is because from within the format of varnashram Vaidhi Bhakti, Rag Bhakti is meant to arise. And so everyone can develop Rag Bhakti, attraction. Whether one is pursuing Sudra Dharma or Vaishya Dharma or so on, everyone can develop Rag. Because that Rag is there, like I say, it's intrinsic to the soul. That Rag is there. And if we have Sadhu Sangha, Sava Siddhi Hoy, then we become impregnated with interest in spiritual matters. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they awaken a sense of Rag, attraction to Krishna, to spiritual life. That is evident in all the great acharyas. They create a great upswell of devotees. We see recently with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada went everywhere in the world, and everywhere people by his association became impregnated with the Bhakti Lata Bij. Let me become a devotee. Let me try. Let me chant Hare Krishna. Let me read the Bhagavatam, as it says here, Vedic study. Let me try and have purification of my existence. And then people become fearless. Very interesting first quality Krishna says, fearlessness. Fearless, why? Because the more we realize I'm not this material body, I'm not this material mind, I am a spirit soul, I am angsa, part of Krishna, we become fearless. I'm eternal. Krishna promises in the Gita, na me bhakti pranashati. My devotee will never perish. He says, my devotees, I'll protect what he has and I'll carry what he lacks. So this is direct realization of the Supreme Lord and one's relationship. So increasingly a devotee becomes fearless. Prabhupada's name was Abhijāto. Well, is Abhijāto. Fearless. Because we take shelter, we feel the realization of Krishna's shelter. Krishna is Ashraya. So we become sheltered under the lotus feet of Krishna and Srimati Radharani and Vamanadev. And we don't worry for anything, because directly we feel the presence of Krishna. And that becomes our joy. So we become fearless. Whereas, of course, we won't discuss the demoniac nature. The demoniac nature, they're full of kunta, anxiety. The devotee is Vaikuntha because of his realization of Krishna. So we should always remember that. In the period of sadhana, we may feel troubled in mind and body. This may be going on. But here Krishna is giving us advice. Oh, don't worry about things. Don't develop freedom from anger. There may be some agitating circumstance, but control your mind. Why? And we've been reading this the last few chapters, if you remember. All the time Krishna is saying, pay attention, go beyond the modes. Yes, all the living entities are expanded everywhere, but go beyond that and see the Supreme Lord. See the transcendental platform. So a devotee, this is his job. Just like we were talking about a few verses ago about the abode of the Lord. So the devotee, with his eye of devotion, with his eye, the eye of his swarup, he sees the Supreme Lord. He sees the Leela of Krishna. And that is his rag. So then eventually that rag bhakti turns to rati. Rati means attachment, right? We've explained this many times, but this is basic understanding. We must understand it, that you become attracted to something, but then you practice that relationship of attraction, and then you become attached. That means you can't go anywhere else. You're satisfied. You're one-pointed. Ekeha kurunandana. Bahushakas anantascha. The materialist is many, many different ideas going here and there. But the devotee is ekeha. He's one-pointed. Why? Because he's attracted. And then that attraction becomes attachment. And that attachment becomes bhava. He realizes Krishna, and then he realizes his relationship, and he enters the realms of prema. So this bhakti, this is all inbuilt to the soul, but we're dormant. So all these divine natures here that are to be practiced by the sadhakas, the rules and regulations, they manifest these naturally, because these are the manifest natures of the soul. It's not that one has to practice these things intellectually. Yes, at the period of sadhana, we have to understand these things intellectually. We have to understand them and cultivate them. Just like you're cultivating a plant. You're attentive that it has the right conditions. But the plant has its natural life. So these qualities, ahimsa, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, these are all part and parcel of the natural soul. It is not that Krishna consciousness is some kind of mental jacket that one dranks on. One assumes or poses in that way. These are natural to the soul. But in the period of sadhana, and especially when we're in the material world, we have to practice these things so that we avoid going into the lower modes. Because we want to maintain mode of goodness. Prabhupada explains that if you want to take off, you have to go to the airport. So the airport, if you want to take off into Krishna consciousness, you should develop into the transcendental realms. You should develop mode of goodness. Because in mode of goodness, just like today, Vedic study, it's very difficult to study if you're all agitated by passion and ignorance. Passion means the asura. This is the beginning. You can read this in the Srimad Bhagavatam at the beginning, 7th canto, that generally the asura is mode of passion, whereas the rakshasa is mode of ignorance. So that divine nature, we won't go into that, but basically the asura wants to enjoy material nature. Wine, women and song. Dhanam, janam, sundaram. I want wealth. I want a good position and respectability in society. I want fame and fortune and sex life. I want to propagate and be an enjoyer. With the Rakshasa, his perverted form of enjoyment is not to enjoy material nature, but to control, dominate. Just like nowadays, with this, all this propaganda, this is the Rakshasa. The Rakshasas want to control. You have to stay in your house. You have to take this vaccine. You have to do what you're told. You have to bow to the great leaders. Globalism. You have to bow to the communist situation. We will tell you where you can live, how much money you can have, what you can do. We will tell you what to think. So this is the Rakshasa. So this is the time of the Rakshasas. They're trying, of course, the thing is, they will fail. Because they always fail. Ravana, these little Rakshasas we have nowadays, Ravana failed, Duryodhana failed, Hiranyakashipu failed. They always want to be the controller. They reject, that's the basic thing of the demoniac nature. They reject the idea of the Supreme Lord. Oh, Supreme Lord, Supreme Person, I'm the Supreme Person. Or the Supreme Person, he's impersonal. He's an energy field that I can draw upon, and I can become the Supreme Lord myself. By austerity I'll develop potency, like Ravana, right? I'll worship Lord Brahma. I won't worship Vishnu. He's the enemy of the Rakshasas. I'll become the God. And that Vishnu, he's only the God because he performed austerities in the past, and I'll perform greater austerities than Vishnu, and then I'll kill him. And I'll be the big one. So this is the Rakshasa. And so everything they do is about domination. Their sexuality, sadomasochism, perversion, all sorts. And now it's all being pushed forward, right? Before, homosexuals were in the closet. Now if you're a heterosexual, you have to stay quiet. Because everything is being, this is the Rakshasa Bhav that is being propagated. And now the movies, they're all full of ghosts and demons and all sorts of things. This is the world of the Rakshasas. In the lower planetary systems, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, they don't like, there's no mention of a Supreme Lord, but they worship the Master, the Prabhu. And that Prabhu is worshipable, and he gives them life and luxury in the lower realms. But don't mention God. Don't mention that. Don't mention Vishnu. Don't mention a source beyond me. Look at me. I am giving you bread. God, you're praying to God for bread, but look, I have a granary here, and I'm giving you bread. You're praying to God for bread, but I'm the one with the bakery. Yeah, but you rascal, where did you get the grain from? Did you grow the grain? Did you invent the grain? Did you create it out of your hand? But everyone, yes, Master, you are giving us bread, so we will give you worship. So increasingly in the lower planetary systems, that is the demoniac nature. They worship man as God. And so this is what's going on. We are the controllers, and if we say you do this, you must do it. Look at me. I'm the big cheese. Yeah, but you're a big cheese, but you smell bad. You've gone on. You're moldy. And very soon Vishnu will polish you off. So the devotee is fearless because he knows that the demons, they are nothing. In one moment, Ravana was gone. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaka, gone. Duryodhana, gone. No good. So Krishna is Supreme Lord, not because he got the job, because he is the Supreme Lord eternally. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, Satchidananda Vigraha. But in this material world, people think that I will attain. What you will attain? You will only attain a headache. So the spiritual people, they look at this, they're all fools and rascals. They've all entered into, yes, Duskritina and Mudha, fools. The Prabhupada, fools and rascals means Mudha and rascal, Duskritina. misbehaving. They think they can do anything. This is the modern day, demoniac nature. Oh, we can do anything. We talked about this many times. The law of karma, the law of physics, action and reaction, that applies to asteroids in space. It applies to gravity, but it doesn't apply to me. I can do anything, and I'll just get no reaction. All the rest of the world is governed by the laws of physics and chemistry, but my actions, they have no reaction. But a devotee, he has fearfulness in one way. He's fearful of Maya. Prabhupada said that my devotees are, they have a defect, that they're not afraid of Maya. They're not afraid. So a devotee tends to be like that because he realizes Krishna, so he feels that the illusory energy can't touch him. But if he steps outside these recommended practices, then Maya can grab him. So therefore a devotee, he should be fearful of Maya, because Maya is there to test us and to drive us back to Krishna. But the demons, they're full of anxiety. They're always fearful that my money will be lost. My good name in society will be decreased. My sex life will be decreased. So they take all sorts of drugs and this and that. And it is generally, the demons, they're attached to intoxication. Why? What does intoxication do? They take, they take alcohol because it makes me feel relaxed, right? They take hashim, opium, because it makes me feel relaxed. It means they want to get rid of kunta. They want to get rid of kunta. And then I can dream. I can enter into a dream and I can imagine that I'm the king of the world, or that I'm all-powerful. So they take stimulant to have power and enjoyment. But then the next day they have a big headache. Why? Because they've been destroying their nervous system. And so eventually they go more and more into tamagun. And then they go to narak, because they've destroyed their body and mind, and they become so low. They go to narak because of their behavior. And then they become, as Prabhupada talks about here in the ahimsa paragraph, they enter into lower species of life. There are, Vedas explain, there are 8,400,000 categories of life, 400,000 categories of human life, and throughout the universe, in different lokas, different conditions. So, according to consciousness, these categories are there. So, the Rakshasa, the Asura, they are bound for Narak, and they come up through the lower species. They come up for many, many lifetimes, coming up, and you can see like a lion or a tiger. What is it? It's Rakshasa life, charging around, hunting, biting the necks of people, drinking hot blood, eating animals alive. This is the Rakshasa. And you can see this tendency in the human being nowadays, Kali Yuga, the Rakshasa. So this is the demoniac nature, and it is based on ignorance. You see also here, what does it say at the beginning? Fearless purification, cultivation of spiritual knowledge. So the Sanskrit is gyan. Gyan is knowledge. So in the Vedic paradigm, gyan, knowledge, we explained this last week, doesn't mean to say I know how to make a Boeing 707 or or I know how to swim nicely or something. This is a skill. Gyan in the Vedic paradigm, knowledge, means perception of the absolute truth. So according to one's level of perception, one is realized. The more one is a devotee, the more Krishna has revealed himself. Ye tam mam prapadyante. The more he sees Vasudeva Savamiti. That is knowledge. So once a devotee is seeing everything is the energy of Krishna, everything is the creation of Krishna, that is jnana. That is knowledge. Whereas ignorance, avidya, is agya, is the refusal to recognize Krishna, to ignore Krishna, to ignore this creation as being the gift, the creation of the Supreme Lord. But rather, so agya, avidya, and so these so-called scientists, oh, everything is possible, but it's not the creation of a supreme person. It is the creation of a big bang, where everything has come out of a field of impersonal energy, or it's all come from the void. It's all come from nothing. Anything except say it's come from the Supreme Lord. So this is the demoniac nature, the refusal to recognize the obvious truth that there's a creation, so there's a creator. And in the creation we see people, we see personality. So there must be personality in the absolute truth. Where else has it come from? This is the basic, just like in the Vedanta Sutra, atato brahma jignas, right? Atato brahma jignas. Now inquire into that which is supreme. Now you're a human being. Follow all these principles, then you're a human being. And inquire into the absolute truth. And then the second is janmadi asyata. The absolute truth is defined. The first principle Vedavyas gives us is that the absolute truth is that which is the source. Very interesting point, isn't it? What is the absolute truth? The absolute first point in understanding the absolute truth, Vedanta Sutra, and then also in the Bhagavatam, is the source. And that's in the Ishupanishad. We are talking about that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnat Udashite Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Ishyavasha Idam Sarvam Yat Kinchat Jagajam Jagat Tena Taktena Bunjita Magrida Kashaswit Dhanam. So everything is controlled. Everything is an emanation of the absolute truth. So it's all belonging to Krishna. It is his. It's controlled. Isha. Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the controller. He is the source. But no, it's not personal. That is the demoniac impetus. To deny a personal source. But to say, oh, it's come from a big bang. It's come from the void. It's come from energy. It's come by chance. Everything is by chance. You are by chance, unfortunately. We have you in the room by chance. Did you come to this room by chance, or did you buy a ticket, a bus, or come on a taxi? Did you come? Everything has come by chance. Yeah. Your philosophy is by chance. Your intelligence is by chance. But we don't accept your by chance idea. Just like if you rob a bank and the police catch you and the judge asks you, why did you rob the bank? You're a thief. What's your motivation? You know, in criminal law they always want to know the motivation. So if you say to the police or the judge, I robbed the bank by chance. I was walking down the road and by chance I stole from the bank. Or you were drunk and you crashed your car into the wall. No, it wasn't my fault. It happened by chance. When there's a road accident, the police come along and they say, why this accident has happened? Who's at fault? Oh, you were drunk and you were going too fast. You can't say to the police or the judge, oh no, the accident was by chance. By chance means you're avoiding the proper analysis. Huh? You're refusing the obvious. Huh? Did you get up this morning by chance? No, I woke up and then I thought, oh, I feel tired, but I'll have a shower. I made the decision. So everything is the decision of the Supreme Personality. That's the meaning of Sava Karana Karanam. He has created all this. So the devotee accepts that and he meditates on that. He purifies. And the other thing, a special Vedic study. Vedic study will enhance our jnana, our perception of the absolute truth. Cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas. That was in the first of today's thing. Yes, study of the Vedas. Because that, just like now, Arjuna, from the 11th chapter in the Gita, he's realized, oh, this is the Virat Roop. This is how Krishna is maintaining the whole material creation. He's entered into it. Everything is resting upon him. Kalosmi aham. He is the potency of time. He is doing everything. So Krishna, Arjuna has understood Krishna. But then Krishna, after 11th, he tells him, okay, 12th chapter, be a devotee in this way. Gives the different ways, levels of bhakti. Then now in these last 6 chapters, he's giving all sorts of Vedic siddhanta. 3 modes of material nature, all the living entities. And it is all to strengthen the realization of Arjuna. So by knowledge, bhakti jnana, knowledge, by vidya, bhakti vidya, you become strong in your realization of Krishna. And by understanding this knowledge, Krishna explains, one who studies this conversation performs bhakti. He's doing bhajan. Just like this morning, I was chanting, I finished my chanting and so on. But then I thought, let me look at the chapter, the verse. So I was studying. That is bhajan. And it is an essential part of the divine nature in the material world. To perform bhajan through studying the Vedas. That's what I was asked to speak on. Because the Vedas, they reveal the absolute truth. They point the direction. Vedesha dola mamadola mamatma bhakto. Yes, ultimately the Vedas, they direct us to the Supreme. But ultimately the Supreme Lord, like we said at the beginning, is revealed by bhakti. So Vedic knowledge, Vedic study strengthens our bhakti. And the special gift of Lord Chaitanya is to practice this rag bhakti. Rag bhakti means to worship in a particular awakening mood, as Dasya Bhav, Sakya Bhav. So when we chant, what does Krishna say? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajitam priti purvakam. We chant in a certain awakening mood. And these are the rules and regulations and practices to strengthen, to give a foundation to our bhakti. Okay, we'll finish on that point. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, any questions, points of anyone want to make a point? Rasoham absukuntaya. Krishna, right? This is Vasudeva Savamiti. Now it is the damp, but if you drink nice cool water, you feel refreshed, right? Why? This is Krishna. This is Krishna. This energy of Krishna. So it's very delicious. And it's more delicious the more pure it is. So the more pure we become, the more delicious our life is. It's as simple as that. So these regulations are to give us a delicious life. Bhakti rasamrita sindhu. Thank you too. Any question? What's happened, Karbajan? You used to always ask questions.
I'm looking you are also Krishna.
I'm the energy of Krishna. Mavai vamsa jiva loke. Everyone is a little sample of Krishna. Yes, we're all art parcel of Krishna, but we're not the totality of Krishna.
Part of Krishna.
Yes.
Not
The soul is angsa. Krishna is the fire, we're the spark. Okay then. Everyone perfectly satisfied. Thank you all very much for coming and your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada Sadhu Sangha Bhagavad-Gita ki jai.